Hi everyone, it's Debbie with Book and Bujo. Welcome if you're new, welcome back if you've been here before. It's that time of the month again for my TBRopoly game. So join me as my game chooses what I will be reading in December. Let's start with how I did in November to see if I will be getting a reward or punishment for December. I did have a reward in November, which was to remove one roll of your choice, which I did use, and that will come up in a minute. But my first roll ended up being a TBR jar pick, and I drew Prophecy of Fire, but I no longer had that book, so then I had to draw again. And I think whatever came up, I had read that book. I don't know, but I finally, a phone booth or something, and I didn't have that one either. That's what it was. And I finally ended up drawing Wild Spirit, and that is by Victoria Wren, and it's a collection of short stories, and it's book number 1.5 in the Wild Spirit series. And I definitely need to go back and read that series because the collection of short stories was very intriguing, and I definitely enjoyed it. Roll number 2, I landed on 25 in 2025, and for that, it was The Stardust Thief by Chelsea Abdullah, and I'm happy to say I did read that one, and it's the first book in the Sand Sea trilogy, and I enjoyed it. It was very interesting and intriguing. I want to know more, and I will definitely continue with the series. Roll number 3 was an odd card, and that was to read a big book, over 500 pages, and for that, I chose To Green Angel Tower Part 2 by Tad Williams, and I have not quite finished this book yet, but I did start it. So that means it counts. I will probably carry it over into December as well because I don't think I will have it completely finished by the end of the month, but I will have made a good chunk of the way through. And it's an 800 some odd page book, so even if I read 400 in November and 400 in December, I think it'll still be good. I will try and read at least 500 pages of it though, just to make the over 500 page prompt count. So I'm still working on that one, but it will be pretty close. Roll number 4 was an even card, and that was to read a YA book. And for that, I read Last Sacrifice by Rochelle Mead, and this is the last book in the Vampire Academy series. I am actually about 90% of the way through it today, and I will have that finished by tonight. So that one is complete. Next roll was an even card, and that was to read a spooky book. And for this one, I chose Hummingbird by T.C. Parker, and this was definitely an interesting book. I don't know. I don't think I really had too many expectations going into it, but none of that would have been expected. So there's like vampire-like creatures, there are shifters, there are just some weird stuff that happens, and there's a whole story behind this thing going on that I'm not even going to get into because there's some spoilers there, but it was interesting. So Hummingbird is the name of the elementary school, and there's LGBTQIA plus representation in here, and there's also homophobic triggers, so be aware of that going in. And it's kind of the two sides of the story, and it's very interesting, especially for it being based in like an elementary school. It's weird. Yeah, 3.5 stars. It was definitely intriguing and made you think and like wonder what's happening next. Like, what is happening? I would recommend it to some people, but not for all. Roll number 6, I landed on a classic, and I chose Finnegan's Wake by James Joyce, and I couldn't even tell you anything about this book. No idea what's going on. No. I am about 200 pages in, 216 pages. I made it a little over 30% of the way through, and I am DNFing this book. Yeah. I have no idea what's going on. I talked about this a little bit in my Herkiad update for October, so I will leave that linked up in the cards above if you want to hear a little bit more about it, but it's just, it takes more brain power than I have to give at this time. People smarter than me should read this book. And I did talk to my sister about it because she was an English lit major, and she said this book drove her crazy. So I am DNFing it. If I do have some time before the month is over, I may dip into it a little bit more. But yeah, that's a DNF. Sorry, Finnegan's Wake. And James Joyce, I would try you again. I would try another book, but this one is not for me. Roll number 7 was an even card, and that was on the floor. And that was to read a cozy book. And for that, I chose Anne of Avonlea by Lucy Maud Montgomery. And again, I still just love this one just as much as I did the first book. Such a good series, such a good story, and I loved it. Heartwarming, cozy, and beautiful. And then lastly, roll number 8 was an odd card, and that was to read a book with magical creatures. And I definitely read some books with magical creatures in it. And I had chosen A Time of Blood by John Gwynne, the second book in the Of Blood and Bone series. But I still have not been able to get that. I'm sort of on a book buying ban, so I didn't want to just buy it, which means I did not read that. And that means I chose my reward of removing 1 roll of your choice, and that was this last one. So I completed my TBR for November. Yay! And that means I get a reward. Let's see what I'm going to choose. That means I completed my TBR and I get a reward. Yay! So I can put the punishments away. So let's see what my reward is going to be. Switch 1 prompt for a mood read or a book club book. That's a good reward. I like that one. All right. Okay, for my reward, I chose switch 1 prompt for a mood read or a book club book. I think that one's going to come in handy. Now let's see how many rolls I will be doing for December. Okay, I'm going to roll my D12 because, of course, you know, the 12 days of Christmas and all of that. It just seemed fitting. And for Mary Bookmas, there's 12 prompts. So I'm going to go ahead and roll my D12. So let's see how many rolls I will be getting. 6. Well, that is definitely doable. 6 rolls. That's not too bad. Even if I get some doubles, I think that is totally doable and probably better than trying to do more rolls just because of Mary Bookmas and the Reindeer Readathon, which are happening in December. This way I get a little more choice, I think. Hopefully. We'll see what the TBR rolls gives us though. So let's move into roll number 1. This is where I ended up in November, so this is where I will start in December. So let's go ahead and go with our first roll. So roll number 1. 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Even number, even card. Read a graphic novel. Ooh, that's great. I need to catch up with Something is Killing the Children as well as Saga. For roll number 1, I got an even card, and that was to read a graphic novel, which is great because I need to continue with Something is Killing the Children graphic novel series by James Tinian IV, and I am up to volume 4. Roll number 2 of 6. 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. A D20 roll. All right, D20. So here is my D20 list, and let's go ahead and roll my D20. There's the 20. And let's see what I'm going to get. I've actually read about half of them already, so hopefully it's one I haven't read yet. 16. I have read that one. Let's go again. 16 again. That's weird. 6. I've read that one. 17. I've read that one too. That one was amazing. Vampires and Dust by Brian Cahill. 1. I have not read that one yet. That is Fate Changer, the first book in the Penny Lost series by L.M. Poppin. Roll number 2, I landed on a D20, and I rolled a 1, which as you saw, and that ended up being Fate Changer by L.M. Poplin, L.M. Poplin, and this is the first book in the Penny Lost series, and this is a time travel book where little Penny here goes back in time and has to make her way in the world as a young adult. It looks like it's going to be cute. All right, roll number 3 of 6. First double, that is 6. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, a classic. I mean, 'tis the season to read A Christmas Carol. I may have to do that one. Roll number 3 landed me on a classic, and I decided I am going to choose A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. I do have a couple of copies, but the other one I have that I showed you when I was doing the rolls, that one's a little more delicate, and it's a lot older than this one, and this one's a hardcover, that one's a paperback. So I will probably read out of this copy just because it's a little more sturdy. And I do love this one. I either read it or watch it every year, some version of the movie every year, because there's so many of them out there, and they're all really good. Oh, and I forgot, that one was a double. So we've got 7 rolls. All right, roll 4 of now 7. We have 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, even card, even number. A random letter generator. Roll number 4 was an even card, and that was a random letter generator. So let's see what I get. I got an S, which is perfect because I need to read Sky of Fire by Madeline Carr. This one is for one of my Herkiad prompts, and this is the oldest subscription box book that I have not read yet. So I need to get to this. And I love this edition. This is one of the Pages and Wick editions, and it is just stunning. I think I only got 3 of them before I ended up having to cancel, but they are all stunning. Roll 5 of 7. Another double. We got a 4. See, I'm telling you, we got 2 evens, 2 doubles. 1, 2, 3, 4. A series. Anne of Green Gables. Perfect. Roll number 5. Another set of doubles. So now we're up to 8 books. That's still good because the 6 was really low. So 8 I am fine with. And that was a series. And that was to read Anne of Green Gables, which is perfect because I am participating in the read-along of Anne of Green Gables. And the next book that we are reading is Anne of the Island, and this is by Lucy Maud Montgomery. It's the 3rd book in the series. Okay, roll 6 of now 8. We have 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Another even card. And that is to read a memoir. Ooh, I don't know if I have any on my list to read. Roll number 6 was another even card. Telling you those evens, and that was to read a memoir. And this is where my reward ended up coming in, where I can switch one prompt for a book club book or a mood read. Now, I did read Toe Blake by Paul Logothetis in November, and that was about Hector Blake, who is a hockey player, and that was a memoir. And I don't have another one kind of on my TBR to read anytime soon. So I am definitely going to switch this one, and instead I'm going to read The Light Between Oceans by M.L. Stedman. Roll 7 of 8. Got 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Another even card. And that is to read a middle grade. Okay, roll number 7, that brought me another even card, and that was to read a middle grade. And for this one, I'm going to read Puzzle Heart by Jen Reese. Now this one I originally had chosen for the 52 Book Club prompt of the book cover has to do something with puzzles, and this one had the puzzle in the name, so I thought that would be perfect. But then I had ended up switching that to another book, and I haven't read either of them, so I think I have both of them slotted in for December. So whichever one I read first, I will use it for 52 Book Club. But it looks cute. It is a middle grade, and it kind of the synopsis kind of reminds me of Winter House, that series, and I loved that series. I'm interested to see if this one's just as good. Roll number 8 of 8. We've got 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Series. Between Earth and Sky. That series is by Rebecca Roanhorse. And then lastly, roll number 8 was another series card, and that was to read the Between Earth and Sky series, which is perfect because I just read the first book in October, and the second book is Fevered Star, and this is by Rebecca Roanhorse, and this is the second book in the series. And that's it for my TBRopoly TBR, which seems so short compared to some of my last ones with like 15 and 12. Although in November, I had 9, but only had to read 8 of them. So I guess it's the same as November. So that's not too bad. And I felt like that was a lot more doable. But again, we have more readathons in December and the holidays and all of that fun stuff going on. So we'll see how I do. I want to interrupt this video before we get into the book clubs and show a little bit more about the QFun laminator that I have. It is amazing. And you can go up to a regular letter size, 8.5 by 11. You could do the A5 size and A6 size sheets. And I want to laminate some of my TBRopoly cards so that they stay safe for future years as I continue to play this game. Let's get into some lamination. I decided it was time to laminate some of my TBRopoly cards as they are not all the same size, and I've just added to them over the last few years that I've been playing this game. And so I thought maybe I'd make some all the same size and also laminate them so that they will last for longer. So that is what I'm doing here. I'm using my little paper cutter, and I've measured out roughly the same size for all of the different ones. I'll have a little bit left over from the sheet that I have. And then I will use my QFun laminator and get them all laminated. Okay, I'm going to work on transferring over my prompts to these ones and then get them laminated. All right, I got all of my even cards ready to go. So let's see if I can pick these up easily enough to slide in here. I have kind of an old cutting mat that I'm going to slide under here just to help pick these up. And then I will make sure it doesn't go through the machine. So again, the sealed side towards the machine and the open side towards you. Got a couple of them a little crooked in there, but I can fix that when I cut them. Now you want to make sure if you use a guide piece that doesn't go through the machine as well. And you don't want to pull it through, just let it do its thing. And there we go. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and turn that off because I'm done with it. And oh, a couple of them did get, well, I missed that, overlapped a little bit, but that's all right. I'm not too sad about that. It's fixable. I'm going to pull out my cutter. I may end up rounding the corners. We'll see. Okay, I'm going to trim, actually I'm going to trim the shorter sides first. And with this project, because they're so small, I probably should have used a smaller paper, but that's all right, the smaller laminating sheets. But I'm okay with it. I'm going to do a little fussy cutting. So here are my even cards, and they will keep nice and safe for quite a few years to come and not get all beat up and chewed up as I use them. Now back to the video. Let's go ahead and see what book club books I will be reading as well. For the Catch-Up Book Club, we are up to reading A Time of Dread, which is the third book in the Of Blood and Bone series by John Gwynne. And again, I still need to get to the second book. So hopefully I can get to at least the second one in December, but again, my library doesn't have it. So we'll see. The Game of Tomes is reading a book I have previously read, which is Babel by R.F. Kuang, so I'm not going to reread that one. For the Gables Book Club with Jess from Jashi Curran, we are reading Tiny Habits by B.J. Fogg, and this one looks interesting. The Wellread Book Club, we won't find out until later in the month, so another week or so before we find out. Because I'm filming this, it's still got a week or so left in November. The Hardcore Literature Book Club is reading Emma by Jane Austen. I've already read that one, so I probably won't reread that one at this time. And for Words and Influence, I'm not sure what we're reading either. We may just carry over the November book, which is Catabasis by R.F. Kuang. And sadly, I have not finished this one yet, and it's due back to my library on Monday, so I'll have to wait to. I do have the ebook on hold, and I'm hoping that that one comes in soon since I have to turn this in a couple days. For read-alongs, like I said before, I am participating in the Anne of Green Gables read-along, and we are up to Anne of the Island, and then also the Vampire Academy read-along, and we are up to Bloodlines, the first book in the kind of spin-off series, which is Bloodlines, and that's by Rochelle Mead. Next up is Reading Challenge that I'm doing with my mom and my sister, and that is to read down our physical TBRs. And my November book was To Green Angel Tower, which of course I'm not quite done with. So this will probably carry over to December as well. But I also have two other physical books that I need to read, and they are both on my December TBRopoly, and that is A Fevered Star and Sky of Fire. Now for the year-long readathons. For Buzzwordathon, read a book where the title has an alliteration in it, and I'm going to read Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. And that is for the title prompt. And then for the cover prompt, that is monochromatic cover. So basically one color on the cover, not counting black or white. And I plan on reading Empire of the Dawn by J. Kristoff. And then for the Year of Goober, also with Jess from Jashi Curran, the first prompt is Narcissus, Respect. And that is to read a book that was an award winner or nominee. And for that, I plan on reading The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King by Carissa Broadbent, and this is the second book in the Crowns of Nyaxia series, and this was a Goodreads Choice winner. The second prompt is Holly, Eternal Life. Read a TBR vet, and I will definitely be reading Sky of Fire by Madeline Carr. I'm sure you're going to see most of these books multiple times here. Next, we have TBR Knockout with Completely Melanie. And for December, it's all about endings. And the first prompt is to read the last book in a series, and I will be reading Empire of the Dawn by J. Kristoff. Hopefully, as long as my library gets it in time. And then a book where something ends. And this one, I haven't written anything down yet because I'm not sure. I'm hoping that maybe The Light Between Oceans by M.L. Stedman. I'm sure Anne of the Island by Lucy Maud Montgomery probably has some endings in there as well. But also, you know, I didn't think about it, but you know what? A Christmas Carol. This definitely has an ending to it. Charles Dickens. There we go. And then we have Year in Aldia. For Ariel, she went from 11B to 12B, and she enters the Dark Meadow and needs to read a most anticipated book. And for this one, it's Empire of the Dawn by J. Kristoff. For Karasu, he's going from 11C to 12C, and he is streaming his band song with his implings, and that one is to read a humorous book. And I plan on reading How My Neighbor Stole Christmas by Megan Quinn. For Luminara, she is going from 11A to 12A, and that's an Ancient Tree Blessing. And for this one, you need to read a book with trees on the cover, and I plan on reading We Used to Live Here by Marcus Kluwer. And then Castian, he is going from 11D to 12D, and he needs to travel by sand ship, and you need to read a book that has a ship on the cover or in the title. And Anne of the Island by Lucy Maud Montgomery, they are on a ship. So you don't see the full ship, but you do see there's the life preserver, you have the railings there, and they're on the water. You can tell that they are on a ship. Next is the month-long readathons. Let's start with Merry Bookmas, which was created by Melanie from Completely Melanie, and I'm one of the co-hosts, so you want to check out all the links below so you can see who all the other co-hosts are and join them for their sprints and just join in the fun on Discord as well. I will leave my announcement video also linked up in the cards above in case you want to check that out. But the first prompt is the star. So we're all about the ornaments on the tree for the prompts. The star is to read the group book, and that is How My Neighbor Stole Christmas by Megan Quinn. Now, these are a little different than what I originally did in my announcement video because some of the books I needed to change up because I couldn't get them or already read them or whatever. So the second prompt is the Nutcracker. So you need to have a battle or war in the book. And for this one, I plan on reading Empire of the Dawn by J. Kristoff. Prompt number 3 is tinsel foil on the cover. And for that, I will be reading Sky of Fire. And you can see it shining there by Madeline Carr. And if you want to go crazy and don't want to count the dust jacket, we definitely have some foil on the naked hardcover as well. Next up, we have Garland. So that is to have a design that wraps around the book cover. And for that one, I plan on reading Fevered Star, which definitely wraps around the cover. And that is by Rebecca Roanhorse, the second book in the Between Earth and Sky series. And then we have Snowflake. And this is to read a book with a cold setting. And I will be reading We Used to Live Here by Marcus Kluwer. And then we have Lights. Lights are beautiful on the tree, but they also produce heat, and it's hot in Australia because it's summertime. So read a book set in Australia, and I will be reading The Light Between Oceans by M.L. Stedman. Prompt number 7, we have Candy Canes, and that is to read a book that is sweet. And I will be reading Anne of the Island by Lucy Maud Montgomery. Next, we have Pine Cones, and that is to read a book set in nature, and I plan on reading Hazelthorn by C.G. Drews. Next, Sleigh. Read a book with transportation on the cover, and I plan on finishing, because I probably won't finish it in November completely, but that's To Green Angel Tower Part 2 by Tad Williams, the final book in the Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn series, and we do have a horse here on the cover, and that is a form of transportation. Next, we have Belle, and that is to read a hyped book. And for this one, I plan on reading Dungeon Crawler Carl by Matt Dinneman, the first book in the series. Next is Wreath. Read a book with a circle on the cover. And for that, I will be reading Of Sages and Saints. And this one is by Paths of the Enlightened series, Volume 1. This is a nonfiction, and that is by Alexander Gabriel Zodoro. And I don't really know much about it. It is in the category of religion, so I will find out. And lastly, we have present. There's 2 choices for this prompt. You can either gift someone a book and not have to read anything, and so it'd be a non-reading prompt, or you can read a book that was gifted to you. So I actually have something for both. So I did find at the library this amazingly beautiful edition of Stories for Christmas by Charles Dickens. It is stunning. And this one is going to be a gift for my sister because she loves Charles Dickens and even has the little ribbon bookmark, and it was pretty cool. So the first time I ever asked her to pick me a classic book to read, the first book she gave me was The Cricket on the Hearth by Charles Dickens, and this book has that one in it. So I'm like, I have to give this one to her. So, and it's stunning. But a book I was gifted, I actually won this in a giveaway, and that was The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King by Chris Broadbent, the second book in the Crowns of Nyaxia series. And so I will be reading this one and gifting that one to my sister. And then I will also be doing Back to Kindle Readathon with Readers C, and I will leave all of the announcement videos linked down below for you for these as well. And this one, there's a bingo board, but I haven't heard what team I'm on yet. So both of the boards are different. The prompts are all the same, but I haven't really figured out exactly what I'm reading for that one yet. I'm kind of loosely participating in that. So whatever Kindle books I have, I will see where they fit into the bingo board. So that'll be like Of Sages and Saints, Dungeon Crawler Carl, How My Neighbor Stole Christmas, Fate Changer, and Anne of the Island. So all of them, but that one. Those ones are all the Kindle books I will be reading. So those will all fit somewhere in there. And then the last readathon I will be doing for December, because I always do this readathon. It is amazing. The first year I was on Team Mistletoe. Last year I was on Team Snowflake. I'm not sure what team I'm on yet, but hopefully by the time I edit this, I will have found out and I will put that up here for you. And that is the Reindeer Readathon with Eric from Break Even Books. And this is so much fun. There's 9 prompts because there's 8 reindeer and then Rudolph. And so they're based off of Santa's reindeer. And you get different points for each of the different prompts. And then there's some extras that you can do that go along with whatever the book. So you don't read anything else, but if one of your books for those prompts kind of fits with that, then you get some extra points. So we'll start from the top, and that is a Dasher for 10 points. The combined sum of all the numbers in the page count is more than 12. So I chose a book that is 768 pages. So that's 7 plus 6 plus 8, which is 21, which is more than 12. And that is Empire of the Dawn by J. Kristoff. Next is Dancer for 20 points. And that is a book that matches one of the first 5 words that you see in the word search, and they have to be in the word list. So you can't just see a word and be like, hey, yay, but that's not one they meant to be found. And the 5 that I saw were mystery, forbidden love, self-help, historical fiction, and romance. And I am planning on reading Tiny Habits by B.J. Fogg because that will be a self-help book. Prancer for 25 points. The title has 7 syllables, and I went through all my books. I think there was 2 that had 7 syllables, but I chose How My Neighbor Stole Christmas. 7 syllables by Megan Quinn. Next, Vixen for 15 points. Has an initial in their name, which I am amazed. I have so many books where the author has an initial in their name. Like I just said, B.J. Fogg. Anne of the Island by L.M. Montgomery, also Lucy Maud Montgomery. But on these ones, it actually says L.M. Comet for 10 points. A book based on your astrological sign, and I am Sagittarius, and so that means the cover needs to have pink, black, and or purple on the cover. And there's actually 2 that kind of fit, but I chose Fevered Star by Rebecca Roanhorse. So we have all the pink here, we've got some purple here, we've all the pink, all the black here, and the purple and the pink here. Next is Cupid for 15 points. And I actually chose the audiobook option, and that was to have an audiobook with multiple narrators. And for that, I plan on reading The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King by Carissa Broadbent. Donner, 20 points. Something from the title is also on the cover, and I could have chosen Sky of Fire because, I mean, there is sky on there. You got some clouds and you got the moon and everything, but I thought I would be a little more clear with that my choice. So I chose Hazelthorn by C.G. Drews, and this one has thorns on the cover. And then we have Blitzen for 15 points. That is pick 3 books that are over 5 years old and then randomly choose from that list. I chose A Christmas Carol, which is definitely over 5 years old. Something is Killing the Children by James Tinian IV. I think that one was 2019. And then I kept thinking 3 years, but it was 3 books. So I don't know if this one was right. I'm gonna have to double check, but I also picked Dungeon Crawler Carl by Matt Dinneman. I think it was 2020 when this one came out. So if I'm wrong, then, but I decided I would let you guys pick which of those 3 books I'm going to read. So Something is Killing the Children, Volume 4, A Christmas Carol, or Dungeon Crawler Carl. Let me know which one you think I should read out of those 3. And then lastly, we have Rudolph for 10 points. A book with no eyes on the cover, and for this one, I'm going to read The Light Between Oceans by M.L. Stedman. There is a person on the cover, but there's no eyeballs. Now for the extras. So for the Christmas Star, read a book that's over 500 pages, and of course my Dasher prompt was Empire of the Dawn, and that one is over 500 pages. Now these ones you can't read extra books for. They have to fit any of the reindeer prompts. Christmas Lights for 15 points, read an ebook. And of course I have How My Neighbor Stole Christmas by Megan Quinn. And then for Christmas Carols, for 20 points, read an audio or listen to an audiobook, and that one will be Hazelthorn by C.G. Drews. And then for Christmas trees, 20 points, a book you wouldn't typically go for. And for this one, it's going to be The Light Between Oceans by M.L. Stedman. This is a historical fiction romance, which is not what I kind of gravitate towards. That one will work. And then Christmas Elf for 15 points, a TBR vet, definitely The Ashes and the Stalker's King by Chris Broadbent. I've had this one for a while. And then lastly is Slaying It for an extra 50 points. You get those points if you complete every reindeer prompt and you completed all of the extra prompts. And so that's an extra 50 points for your team. I usually do complete the Slaying It prompt every year that I've done it so far, which is 2 years. This is the 3rd year. So I have high hopes that I will do that again for whichever team I'm on, which is this one here. And that is it as far as I know. If I do figure out my back to Kindle prompts on the bingo board and what team I'm going to be on, then I will put that up here with the book covers along with it so you can see what I will be reading for that. And if you made it this far in the video, leave some type of Christmas emoji in the comments to let me know that you are here. A Christmas tree, Christmas lights, a reindeer, a Santa hat, something like that. Maybe just something red or green. That would be wonderful. Thank you so much for joining me today, and please like, comment, and subscribe if you want to, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any other bookish content. And until next time, keep reading. Bye!